Yes, back with the group chat, and it's with your boy Errol and
Marcel.
Yeah, and today we have actually got a special. We've linked up with Lymph, the music festival, to team up and bring you some special podcasts called the Group Chat on the Record. So that's what we're here to do today, and we've started this series because it's Black History Month, and we wanted to kind of show and showcase some of the talent from Liverpool and some of the black artists and give them a bit of a voice, which I know that they've already got, but these two lads are in the biggest, definitely the biggest boy band out of the city.
Come on.
And definitely up there in terms of the national attention that these lads have been getting for the last couple of years. We're lucky enough to be sat down with Delleile and Ben from Mic Lowry. Boys.
Pleasure, man.
Mate, cheers. Thank you for coming down. I know we were just like spitballing then before we started rolling, so I'm just going to get you on your toes there quick and just throw this one out there. But musically speaking, influences from, when you're talking about black music, who is up there? Who is your one musician that's kind of just paved the way for yourselves?
Okay.
Any of you's the one?
If I had to pick one, I'd probably say Stevie Wonder.
Stevie, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, why? What did Stevie have that
I don't know.
some of the others just didn't?
I mean, like, we both grew up on like lots of Motown when we was younger. And my mum and dad were both like into the soul music, so it was always around the house anyway. And then I just love Stevie. I think like his musicality is just mad, like next level. Do you know what I mean? And he kind of, I think he branched through like a number of different genres. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't just like soul or Motown. It was like, you know, went into like jazz and like, folk and like all that kind of stuff. So musically wise, I just think he's sick. And I play keys as well, and he plays keys. So.
I think that's one thing I just about Stevie is timeless.
Yeah.
His music is just like, it just doesn't age, and it's faultless in that sense.
He's one of them. Quite often you'll hear a song and it gets played at all kinds of events. You don't actually realise it's him.
Yeah.
It's your question, and then you put two and two together. That's happened with me before with something.
Yeah. And what about you, D? Who would be yours?
To be fair, obviously I'd say like one of the boys harmonising groups, like I'd say probably Joe the Sea. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I wouldn't have even expected
it was
that.
kind of hard.
It's
kind of hard, you get me, because obviously it's either Boys to Men, but Joe's you have that more dirty, that gritty kind of vibe about them, you get me, which obviously I love about them, you get me.
So you can resonate with that, definitely.
Course.
Yeah. Because Boys to Men are a bit more like,
more clean,
yeah, exactly.
No disrespect to them because they're bad.
Yeah, of course, obviously. That's all Boys to Men.
And go on, MV, if you.
I actually thought at least one of you would have said mine then. For me, it'd have to be Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, of course.
I know
obviously,
that's going to be a 50-50 split between people watching. But like, if you don't like that, then.
No, I don't think that's
musically, no one will ever do or break some of the records that he's broke in terms of numbers and sales and just the influence. You can play any MJ tune. Like, there's probably a top 30 in front of a 3-year-old kid now. You weren't alive. Yeah. And straight away they'll know it, they'll know the words.
Yeah.
You know his whole style, the whole culture, it's like a culture.
Yes,
that he's created, and I don't think anybody else will ever come close to having that impact on music.
No,
You say anywhere you go in the world, no matter what language, people will know like the Beatles, Michael Jackson, and Coca-Cola.
Really? Coca-Cola?
That's the first. Especially with the music. So, bringing it back to the group, I know it's the two of you that are in with us tonight. What was your... Give us that kind of timeline. How's it all come together? Where did it start off for yourselves? Because we know personally it's been a long journey, but...
It has been a long journey, 10 years, isn't it?
A while, like, me and Dean known each other since... What, we were like, since we were like 10, 11, something like that. We started going...
Different schools? In different schools?
Yeah.
Schools?
Well, I knew
by the time
he
got into school, I went in Caldies, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what?
No, you were in Caldies when I joined in year 7, but he was only there for like 4 months before he got kicked out.
I remember them 4 months was he used to catch
the bus with you. Yeah, I did that, that's fair, bro. Mad.
Back in the
serious.
But I remember when we was first doing this, I remember someone mentioned obviously like the type of characters and the guests that we would love to have on the podcast, and everyone was like, get the Mic Lowry boys and you've got to get them down for a chat.
Course.
And from early people were saying, yeah, Delleile back in the day at school, people used to just chase him to get him to sing.
Just
beg him to sing. You hold him down and you just sing something. But from early, you've always had that kind of voice and that talent.
I've been about it.
Definitely.
So we used to, like, I met Delleile because when we were younger, we started going to Positive Impact, ran by Barbara Phillips, and they used to do like a Motown tribute show back in the day.
Explain what that kind of setup was, if you don't mind.
So, like,
because I know that's community based.
Of course.
Yeah, so they work with like young people in the arts, so they used to do like dance, music, drama, all kinds really. And but the main thing that they had back in the day was like this Strictly Motown show that they used to do, which my older brother was involved in and Dee was involved in. So I knew about it like from when I was younger. I used to come and see the shows. Dee was like little Michael Jackson in the Jackson 5, that high voice, and it was sick. And then when his balls dropped and he couldn't sing no more, Barbara drafted me in to like be little Michael Jackson, to hit them high notes. I still had like a couple more years left in me. And so then we started in that together. That's where we started singing together. And then we just carried it on, and as we got older, we were still singing within Positive Impact, and then the rest of the guys came along as well to the classes that they had. And we were all like a similar age, all into like similar kind of music, and so we decided to like start doing shit on our own, like just having a little extra day where we just rehearse with some of the guys and just like learning how to sing together, little covers of songs and learning how to harmonise and that, and then just kind of took off from there really.
So was the plan ever to be like, was the plan to be a boy band, or when you were doing those workshops and when you were having those sessions, or was you at that point, how old are we talking, 15, 16?
Exactly.
Or
like 15,
16,
Was you, in your mind at that point, are you thinking?
No, yeah, we was, yeah. Because obviously after the workshops, we vibed as well, you get me? And then obviously, like, it got into like, a couple of lads that, like, used to just link up, and didn't we just used to sing? There was like 7 of us at first, that before like the actual 5 of us, you get me?
Oh really? Yeah.
And then
it was like at first I think, when we were going along to the classes and that, it was just fun. We enjoyed singing, you know what I mean? It was just something we'd done after school. And then as Dee said, like, we started linking up on these extra days and doing some bits, and then I think like one time we done a little cover or something, and then Barbara put it up on like the YouTube channel, on like the company's YouTube channel, and it just got a little good response and stuff, and so we were like, okay, cool, we'll start doing some more of them. And then
so how long ago was this? Is this like still
a long time? This is when we were like,
this is like the inception. Is the name Mic Lowry even?
No, we didn't have a name. It was just like,
at first I weren't even in it.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, that's how mad it was at first. I weren't even in it.
No,
not that.
Yeah, it was just like, it wasn't really anything. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, is like some lads singing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, just a hobby thing.
It was just like, we enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? We had a passion for it.
Yeah, and then we started doing some more bits, and then it became a bit more of a thing, and like then the actual kind of like group formed.
So if I had to put a year on that, what year are you looking here now?
2012.
2012, okay. So then at that point, when is it when you've done your first kind of like live performance or anything like that?
Probably around that time, So like the first like year or two, as I say, it was just like figuring things out, just a little bit of hobby. And then, by about 2012, it was like, cool, this is like a group now. Still didn't have a name, I don't think, at this point though. And then we were still putting little videos out on YouTube. We started doing like little gigs in and around the city, or like little festivals and stuff. Like I think we played like the Brouhaha, and a couple of little things around town where there was like, like a little lineup of like local artists, and we'd just get up and sing a couple songs. And then it was at the Brouhaha actually. We was about to go on stage, and we still didn't have a name at this point. And Esco Williams, who was managing us at the time, was like, we'd been toying around with like a name basically. The first ever show we played was in the Lowry Theatre in Manchester.
Okay, sick.
And then we was talking, I think around the time someone was like, where's that, where are we playing? And someone was like, the Lowry Theatre. And then someone was like, oh, Mic Lowry from like Bad Boys.
Yeah.
And then we were thinking about it, and we were like, oh, that's actually kind of cool, that. And then we played the Brewha Festival, and Esco introduced us, and he just introduced us as Mic Lowry, and we were like, oh, easy, like, we really confirmed on that, like, but, and then we went out and then just rolled with it, and it just kind of went from there.
That's sick. So, from that perspective then, like, because it is, again, going back nearly 8 years now, those first performances as a group, did you notice the scene? Did you look around and think, wow, there's not many other groups like us in Liverpool?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
So as that dynamic, what did you think, right, we can use that to our advantage, or did you think it's going to be harder for us? What was you?
Well, at that time, they weren't really the only pop and boy band before that was JLS, bro. Yeah. And then obviously they were kind of faded by this, like when we actually started doing bits that they were done.
If in all fairness, it was probably more One Direction past JLS.
Oh yeah. That's when that's when
slightly different in terms.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. But I think at the time it was like there was a lot of people singing and doing bits and stuff like that. But as you say, being like a group kind of made us stand out a little bit because no one was really doing that at the time. Like not even just in Liverpool though, but in the music industry in general. Like there was the last group had been like that, like One Direction. There was a little like period then when like groups were like a thing, but then they kind of died out. But in terms of like the kind of group we wanted to be, which was more like your Boyz II Men, your Joe Decees, all that kind of stuff. That's been like 20 years since that had been happening, do you know what I mean? So we were like, this is cool, there might be like a little gap in the market here for us, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And anywhere we'd go when we'd play like a show, we'd always kind of like catch people's eye and stand out. Not necessarily that we were like miles better than anyone else who was on the bills, but because it was just different. It was like, as soon as people seen like a group of lads get up and start singing together, it was like, wow, this is mad, because no one ever really sees it.
And in harmony as well.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like throwbacky, like Temptations type of.
Yeah. So I think that's why it got so much attention at the start, and then kind of made us think like there might be like a little gap in the market here for us. So yeah, I think it was a benefit probably like to be the only ones kind of doing that, definitely.
Sick. So moving in from that early start point where again 2012 you have done a couple of live performances, the inception of the band has been kind of cemented now. You're Mic Lowry. What was the kind of goals and ambitions? Because in my mind I'm thinking, right, once you've established that, was the One Direction JLS-esque route of like X Factor or Britain's Got Talent, was that never on the cards at first in like your own mindset, like this could be the way that we blow, quote unquote?
Well, no, not really. It's never really been, we've never really thought of that route. We just wanted to naturally just do it off our own talent, really, lad, you get me, and just see how far we can get with that, bro, and just be more respectful, you get me, in the music 100%. Business, lad. I feel like, no, not dissing anyone who's been on the X Factor or Britain's Got Talent, but if you take that route, I feel like you get a little tiny bit discredited. Is that right?
Yeah. I feel like you become what they want you to be.
Exactly. So it's kind of like forced and rushed type of thing, you get me, where we just wanted to organically do what we do best, bro, you get me, and just grind and do the thing.
I think it made a difference as well, because when we was coming up was around the time when like X Factor and all that was kind of like on the decline. If you would have gone back maybe like 5-10 years earlier, it was like, I
even auditioned on my own one time for Britain's Got Talent, you get me?
But did you ever?
Yeah, back in the day, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
I need to find them auditions.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. You get me?
Even from then, even if you would have done it on your own, they would have still wanted you to be
something else, into the band or whatever they wanted, you get me?
So I think it was on the decline, and as Dee said, we just kind of wanted to like do it a bit more naturally. Like we had a couple of people who approached us from them, like because they have like scouts who try and get people on the show and that, and they asked us a couple of times, and we
for like the first 3 years of our career prop, when we started doing it, they would asking us every year to get on it, and it was like,
but it's good that you've kind of made that choice and you've had those kind of, that's why I asked you before about what was kind of like the plan almost, because it seemed some people would just be scattergun at it, you know what I mean, and kind of just bite the hand
off.
Yeah,
exactly. But if you knew yourselves what you wanted, then only that kind of outcome would be what you were kind of pushing towards and pushing for, really, or like you'd only be willing to compromise if you knew that that outcome was more likely almost.
Yeah, definitely.
So when do you feel like, or when did it start to feel as though there was more of a transition now, or you're picking up a bit of traction in the sense that it's becoming more of a career for you.
Yeah.
When we started to get like gigs like with Boys to Men and shit like that, that's a bit.
No, even like before that though, like
yeah, but like that's when, but that's for me personally. That's when I started to feel like, wow, this is becoming a career now. We're getting bigger gigs. Yeah. We're getting more heat, and it's starting to grow from that. That was the.
At that point, though, whether you still Liverpool gigs or.
Nah, these like we went. That was like a UK, so it was still local. Yeah, still local. Like really, to be fair, but obviously not Liverpool.
You've always been managed. It was just like not necessarily signed, but you were always managed.
Always managed, yeah. Kind of,
so
or like Barbara and Esco. Obviously, when we started out just singing, they were kind of like mentoring us, and then it just kind of continued from there, really. So I'd say my mindset probably changed a little bit earlier than they, because we'd had like people from like X Factor, Britain's Got Talent getting in touch, and then after we'd kind of curbed them and we were putting more stuff out, and like the videos online were starting to get a bit more views and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, then
we started to get like some people from like labels and like development companies who were getting in touch and
coming to see us, what was going on, and stuff.
Like there was a few times when people would come to like the Methodist when we'd be rehearsing, and they'd come and like see us, and then a couple of times like we'd been for meetings in London, or they'd come up here or whatever. And then there was one point when it was mad because it was like a bit of a full circle thing. So obviously they'd been getting in touch from X Factor trying to want us to go on a show. And then a few years later down the line, Psycho, which is like Simon Cowell's record label from under Sony, actually got in touch and was like, they was like trying to sign us. So we had like their executive who like came to like one of our shows in like upstairs in Leaf on Bowl Street, and then he like took us for dinner in San Carlo, and now
oh my god,
like,
remember that? Oh,
yeah, we
San Carlo ordering lobster, bro. Literally, we didn't even listen. Yeah, we didn't even eat it. Yeah, we were just playing with the claws and shit, bro. You know what I mean? That's how young we was. We were just gassed, just getting lobster and just going, why?
What does that feel like? How old are you then?
Like 15.
No, he was older than that. He was like 17 back that. Was he? That stage, yeah. Because I was like 17, 18, yeah, because I think I was in like my last year of sixth form.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we were just...
And,
so what does that feel like? Where's your head at, basically? That's what I want to know at 18, because I know where my head would
just
have
been. Just gas, bro, like taking every opportunity as it comes, really. Just like, boy, we're just like...
But I think at that stage I thought, there's something going to happen here.
Yeah, it's about
at
to
that
come.
Stage, I was in my last year, sixth form. We're having to do all them UCAS applications and that for uni and that. And like, I did one in school because everyone had to do one. Yeah. But in my head, I was doing it thinking I'm not going to uni. Do you know what I mean?
I can relate to that.
Yeah. And then we ended up actually getting signed in that summer when I finished sixth form. So then I didn't end up going to uni, like. And then yeah, just things just took off from there. Then we started getting like, we went on tour with like Boys to Men in their UK tour, and
what was that like? What's the tour life like? Give us a bit of a rundown. If you've been on tour with, what's the dynamic?
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously, the Boys to Men one was only like 4 days, so it didn't feel like a tour.
Yeah.
You get me? But obviously, we had great experience. That was like one of our first, like proper famous people to like support. You get me?
Yeah.
That was our first ever.
Was
it our first? One of them.
That was one of the first big ones, like.
With,
but obviously, it was mad as well because we'd always said like coming up like how. But like want to be like the next kind of Boys to Men, like the modern day thing, and then we ended up going on tour with them.
Yeah,
so
it's mad.
It was
it's
crazy.
Like,
yeah,
crazy.
It was mad.
That's sick. So I'm bringing this in now. Then definitely, I feel like this is a good point to bring it in. At that point now, you signed, touring, you're going off with Boys to Men. Is there not like alarm bells ringing in your heads, thinking, "Hey, we could be onto something here. We could be like we could be the Black Beatles."
Yeah, of course,
But I feel like whenever I've it, like Joe stuff, I know the Beatles were in a harmony, there was a rock band and stuff like that. But in terms of, I know you guys played the instrument, you played the keys,
backgrounds and stuff. Yeah, Liverpool,
all the stuff there. It is very much a kind of modern iteration of what the Beatles were doing, kind of thing. All from Liverpool. 4 black lads.
Yeah.
It's just so reminiscent of how like the music and the kind of the music game has changed over that course of those 50 years. Do you get those comparisons, or are your fans not even in the same sphere to know
No, there is some that do think of it like that, yeah. Like when, like it is more the older heads, like, to be fair.
They used to love that, like, our label when they signed us. That was like on all the press releases, like, oh, they went to John Lennon's school and like all that. In fact, when we got signed,
we had so many similarities to the Beatles. You get me? We went to the same school.
Yeah.
We from Liverpool. You get me? But the difference was.
Well, yeah, the difference was the music, like, but
yeah, of course.
So I think we'd probably get more comparisons to like your 90s groups like Boyz II Men and Jodeci and all that, rather than the Beatles. The Beatles was just a Liverpool thing.
I think that's probably because of the style of music.
Of course,
definitely. But from being a Scouser and then also being black, I'm always like, you man, definitely in my mind, they're just like the Black Beatles in terms of Wales, your oyster, do you know what I mean? Where you can go with
our first deal we got as well was with Decca Universal, and they're the label that like famously turned down the Beatles back in the day. And they were like, you're not good enough kind of thing, and then they took off.
Yeah, because they knew he wasn't going to.
They didn't want to take that chance. Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah, so that's sick. So then, that transition now, you after the Boyz II Men's happened, what other stuff was you up to? Where was the direction from there? What was the kind of focus?
Just getting some music out there. Really, it was a bit mad because we got signed to like a major record label before we'd even had like an original song out. Basically got signed off the back of this massive fan base that we'd made just from like these cover videos that we've been doing on YouTube. So when we got signed, it was mad. We were like 18. We'd never like written a song together before, and then now it was like, okay, you're under a major record label, we need hits. So then we were like, okay, cool shit, like, yeah, let's start making some music. So
then
we were getting putting in sessions with all these people and like started doing stuff together. So that was the focus, really, just trying to get some original music out there and just do more touring, grow the fan base even more.
So the original music stuff, when you were in Positive Impact, you weren't songwriters though, was you?
No.
So how now you threw into the thick of it, you're on a trajectory where, as you say, you've got signed, you're feeling like it's the buzzing. The next thing is, right, we need the songs now, boys. What have you got for us?
Yeah.
How long was it before you started to get comfortable with the style of music that you've already kind of found? Bro, with your own original.
I feel like we're only just finding our sound. Bro, it's just as simple as that, lad. You just keep learning, progressing throughout your whole career, bro. We've learned so much stuff, lad. It's unbelievable, you get me?
I think looking back with like hindsight now, I'd say to anyone who's like starting out music, like if you want to do it for a career, like just start writing original stuff straight away. Because it's like anything, it's like practice makes perfect, do you know what I mean? And the first things that you do are gonna be crap, do you know what I mean? But you've got to churn all that bad stuff out till you find some gold there, do you know what I mean? And find what works.
And then set your back down a little bit.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. At the time, it didn't feel like it because we were just still like young and gassed, and we were like, yeah, we're doing all these tours, and we're signed, and we're doing all this great stuff. But like looking back now, it was probably a bit of a hindrance because we didn't really have our like sound down to a T, do you know what I mean? We were doing some bits ourselves, but it was a lot of like outside influences, you know, other songwriters and producers who were coming in and like, or A&Rs who were saying, you know, this is what you need to go for, this is what you need to go for. And I think when you get signed to a major label, as an artist, you need to be confident in who it is that you are and what music you want to do.
And how would you find that navigating that when there's more than these are all artists and these are a group? So
it's tough.
That's come with its own challenges, as I can imagine, and you've had to adapt. Is it a key of just adapting?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, at the time it was mad because you've got to, you know, we've all got to agree on it. Then you've got a management team who've got to have their say, and then when you're under a label, there's a big massive team of people who are having their say on like what it is that should be happening. So looking back now, it was probably the fact that we weren't sure ourselves of what our sound was difficult, because you can't go into a meeting with all these executives in a label and say, you know, this is what we want to happen, this is the music that we want to do. That's hard enough to do as it is. But if you all aren't on the same page and aren't 100% sure, then it's tough.
Yeah, of course.
So I think looking back on hindsight, it was like, it probably came a little bit too soon for us getting signed and all that. I think like it would have been good if we probably started just developing a little bit more, writing music, and then if it came a few years down the line, probably would have been better. So I actually got to the point when like that first deal was coming to the end of it, and things weren't like that great for a lot of them reasons, and it was like on the verge where we were thinking, okay, we're maybe going to get dropped by these guys now.
Is that like did you have an anxiety of that?
Yeah, madness.
Yeah,
like
what are we gonna do next?
Yeah.
You think it's like the end of your career, bro? You get me,
really,
but it's a start.
But we,
bro,
it's a start,
bro.
I like that mentality,
bro. Lad, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you, bro. It's just I can't.
We went back as well from, obviously, I finished sixth form, so did the other lads. We went to like getting signed. We was doing it full time for like a year and a half, something like that. And then it got to the point where we were nearly getting dropped. We went back to like having part-time jobs and that. I was working in a bar, just thinking,
what's my life come
to? We've messed it up kind of thing. But we were like still pushing, and we were like, cool, like we're going to do this last release with the label. Hopefully things work out. And then around that time, like just before we were about to put the track out, about a month before, someone got in touch with our management basically. Like, we was in mine one day, just jamming, me, D and Kane, just like jamming around on the piano, singing some stuff, doing some bits. Nice day, like summer's day and that. And then our managers come round and they were like, oh, like have a little meeting. So they came round, they come through like into my back garden, and they had like a bottle of champagne and that. And we were thinking, what's going on here? And then they told us basically that someone had got in touch from Justin Bieber's team and asked us to like come on and support him on like the European leg of his Purpose tour. So we were like, jeez!
All of a sudden you should come from
exactly from thinking it's all done to like that opportunity came up. We put this last song out with the label as well, and then it just went mad. It's had like over like over like 70 million streams on Spotify and that now, and like just took off, and then things just blew up again. So it's mad.
Back on the bandwagon, where you just you know exactly where you're pulling in the direction. That's sick. So what was that experience then like? I can't like just skip over that. You've been on Europe.
So obviously Boys to Men was like 4 days. This was like 38 dates.
Yeah.
And that's all over UK and Europe. Yeah. You get me? So literally,
and this was arenas as well.
Exactly.
So Boys to Men tour was just like academies and that.
Yeah. So that was like thousands. Yeah. This is like even
lots of thousands.
tens, thousands type of thing.
10, 20,000.
You know what I mean? Easy.
Levels. That's easy. So how did you find that in terms of the? I know again, you think it's. I always liken it to like footy. Do you know what I mean? You're going from the championship, pretty much going into the Prem, play, in front of that kind of crowd, performance-wise, which is...
Bro, to be fair, lad, the first performance, we was not ready, I'll be honest, but we still, don't get twisted, we pulled through, we managed to smash in, win loads of Sweden's hearts, bro, you don't get it twisted, we still done the job, but from our very first dates to like mid dates and then the end dates, bro, our performance was getting crisper. We knew exactly how to please an audience, that much big of a crowd, bro. We knew how to. At the end, lad, we can go in anywhere, put us anywhere, bro, and we know how to turn it over. And it's as simple as that. That's now though. That's now, but from the very beginning, we saw the growth. We knew what to do and what not to do, and bro, because obviously people don't really understand you as well, so it's more majority of like just big movements, bro, that just get people gassed, bro, and it's just crazy.
But that's what I was trying to liken it to, from the more intimate crowds and the academies, and then being able to really pick up on just the vocals and the performance, that aspect, now kind of leveling up and being a bit more of a showman and having a bit more having to have more of a stage presence and more movements and stuff. So even like the most experienced, as you say, you go through that X Factor kind of transition. They spend weeks and months after they've won the show to get them ready for those moments. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
To just be thrust into it. Was that first show? Was you getting through on adrenaline?
100%, 100%, bro. And we done it. Don't get, like I said before, we done the job, bro. But it was very, very rusty, and we had like bare notes what not to do and what to do to get me. Because but like I said, you live and learn, bro. It's all experience, bro. Life. You get me? It's just like life, bro. You get me, boy. It's very.
But it was sick, and we did that whole tour as well. Just acoustic guitar and vocals. So like when we was leading up to it, they were like, like, all their tech crew was like, where's your backing tracks, like what's happening, and we were like, we're just gonna do it like this, because that was what we was used to. And they were like, you can't do that in an arena audience. Do you know what I mean? Like, how's that gonna work?
Watches.
Exactly.
Yeah, we just did it like that, and it was like, I think it worked quite well, because like his show was like mad crazy production, you know, trampolines coming down off the ceiling, and like crazy, you know, hundreds of dancers and that. So I think just breaking it down to like a few lads on stage with the guitar just singing, it made kind of people just sit up and be like, oh, easy.
Yeah, it was different. It was different.
Ways,
yeah, exactly.
They're losing to it's quiet, like, or they're gonna sit down and really like listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
it worked though. It did work.
So what was your highlight from that tour then, if you could say, if each of you had one?
Plenty.
I'd just probably say, my highlight was like, I mean, every performance was just
of
mad.
Course.
Like, you come off stage and like your adrenaline's just through the roof.
I'd say our highlights was obviously performance. That many people actually getting to chill with Justin Bieber, actually getting to know him a little bit. You get me more like just what people just through a camera. You get me. We had to get to chill with them and whatnot. Have a little chat with them and see that many places, man. See that many people. See that many places. See, please that many people, bro, and just like enjoy life, bro. You get me? It's just like crazy. It's crazy.
It's
so in those moments you feel like this is what we've been waiting for. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Up towards.
I think like sometimes when you're on tour, you got like, it's like two mindsets. Sometimes you're just there and you're tired, you've had no sleep, and like your voice is sore, and you're just thinking, oh, like you're ready to go home. But then at the same time, it's like
I still don't want to go home.
It's incredible, and I think part of that is because it's like with your adrenaline levels from when you're on stage, like the crash down from that is like it's like a come down from something.
It's just anti-climax.
Yeah.
Literally, you can relate to that shit.
So really. I think it's like it's highs and lows, but like when you're out there, there's nothing better, man. Like I think that's my favourite part of like the job of what we do is getting to play for people, because the buzz you get's just mad.
And the fans, you got mad.
I was just gonna say, if you said like you must have some mad stories about like some crazy fans. Like, there's some mad stuff, to be fair.
Obviously, there's some crazy stuff.
But
what is the kind of do you have a kind of sense of your demographic of fans at the moment? Where is it at?
I think it's weird one for us. I feel like everyone always assumes that it's like really young girls who are into our stuff, and if you come to one of our shows, it's not really like that.
It's very mixed.
Like it's very mixed, mad mixed. Like
it's very mixed.
Don't get me wrong, like you do like,
get your young girls, of course, obviously.
Some younger people, but I'd say you won't really get many people who are under like 18.
Not many.
And I think, is that getting reflected in your music now as well then?
Yeah, I think so.
It's getting a lot more mature.
You know, you were just saying the likeness to boys and men.
Yeah.
Because there's that gap now in between boys to men, and then there's nothing.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably would be on tears for that reason.
That's what I mean. In our shows, you'll see.
Of that. You know, I was young back then when they were these are a bit like these, or they'd be interested just based on that.
You'll see like couples in the like 30s, 40s, or like man them at the back, like that age, who were just stood there, and that's what they say. They're like, you know, this is the kind of music we grew up on.
Yeah.
So like,
that's it.
They relate to it. Do you know what I mean?
That's sick. So coming back off tour, then, you know, it's kind of you're off the road, you're back kind of the day to day. What would you have said, kind of the?
It seems at this point like it's all just being positives.
Obviously,
no, because like we said, we had our lows. We have had our lows. You get me, because we're nearly getting dropped from the label and stuff.
Have you seen any lows? Particularly with being black artists. Have you faced any challenges?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think initially starting out in Liverpool, you know, before things really took off, I feel like there wasn't much of a scene for like urban music. It felt like when we started like taking off and doing bits, it was like we could get like a bigger crowd in London than we could in like our home city in Liverpool. Or
because
like,
obviously the scene was half and it
or like when we were, you know, when you'd be on like little lineups with like a few different artists, a lot of those kind of events were more tailored towards like the indie guitar band kind of stuff, rather than like the urban side of things. So it felt like we had to kind of leave the city and venture outwards to get a bit more like exposure and recognition. Which I think has changed a lot now, because like in this city now, I just feel like that scene's like popping a lot more, and I can see it just bubbling up, which is sick. It's just sick to see. But yeah, back then I felt
so
like there wasn't as much
seasoned vets as well. Can like when you kind of sprinkle in the way the scenes grew over the last like 5-6 years, I'd say yous have come in at a point where, as you were saying before, a lot of stuff is the kind of demand to want to be on X Factor or whatever has kind of died down across the board. But in terms of being in a specific genre, it's kind of supply and demand. There wasn't really any demand for it in Liverpool.
Definitely.
8 to 12, 10 years ago, whereas I feel like even with just the black music now, and it can be kind of drill, hip hop, kind of the neo soul, those type of sounds, you guys can come in now with all of your experiences and be like seasoned professionals of what you do, you know what I mean? And like you can headline stuff in Liverpool now, and people will come, and your name alone with other acts underneath you that like kind of build that kind of scene will get people to sit in the seats and pay the money, do you know what I mean? I think that's sick.
Defo. I mean, we did the last headline show we did was like around like this time last year actually, in the Arts Club. And we had like
Two Kind was DJ He told us about this, he was telling us about.
So we had Sub Blue, Shaq Omar and New Tribe on the lineup, and then ourselves. And it was just sick. Like the energy's always sick when we do shows like that, but it felt extra special because the whole lineup was all like black Liverpool artists. So it was like, this is sick. We feel like we filled the venue here. People are out like having a good time. It's like, and it didn't feel like, oh, we're trying to do like a little event for the scene and just like a few people turn up and it's not really popping. It felt like it was like
a Mic Lowry gig.
This is a
but obviously the
thing,
culture
you know
was everyone was there. Do you get me?
Everyone, all the right ingredients.
Exactly. And even like the other day I seen Culture Deck guys, and they did that event in Kitchen Street, like the carnival event. And I remember seeing it and thinking, that's sick. But probably in my head I was just had a bit of like, I was a bit skeptical about it, thinking like, I don't feel like it's gonna be like a big turnout for that. And then I seen like people's Snapchats and stories and all the footage from it, and it was popping, and I was like, that's sick. I can't imagine that happening like 8-10 years ago. Back then I just feel like there wouldn't have been the scene for it, but as you say now, it feels like supply and demand is like, there's people who are there and like ready for that kind of
everybody, and I feel like he's in prime position in that sense, because as you say now, it's not just being able to rock up and have good mic control or good, you know what I mean? You've got the whole experiences that come with it. You've got the things now, even on a musical CV, you can be like, tick, done that, tick, we've done that, do you know what I mean? And then as you're saying, you've got, which I think you've always been really lucky to have, because even, you know, some people that get a deal and make records but don't organically have a fan base, where I feel like you've always been really lucky in that sense. People have always really been drawn to the talent that you've got, do you know what I mean? So I think that's sick.
Liverpool thing, that, isn't it?
What?
I find
loyal.
If you're doing something
good
good at Liverpool, people who don't personally know you, always back you.
Definitely.
The ones who are closer, we kind of step back.
That's it. That's
well, have you found out with Fred the dynamic over the last, like, especially with lockdown and everything? I know the dynamic changed a little bit, but have you found that in general, really, with like what you're saying there? It's the people that are closest to you that kind of just step back.
I mean, it's mad because I feel like...
Do people treat you different because you're Mic Lowry, do you know what
I mean? I think that might have been part of the reason why. Do you know what I was saying earlier? Like, we could get like a bigger crowd in London than we could in Liverpool. And I felt like there was more... Probably the reason why there was more of a hype outside the city is because no one knew us. So, like, you're just coming in as this artist, as this group. And it's like new and it's exciting and it's interesting. Whereas in Liverpool... People had known about us for time because we did see us in L1 like strumming away on the guitar trying to shoot some videos or like putting stuff up on Facebook or playing little venues around the city. So it wasn't like when we actually started, you know, doing bits, it wasn't like something new and exciting. People were like, oh, we kind of know them. Or, you know, such went to school with him, or do you know what I mean? So as you say, it wasn't like
give it that chance.
Well, moving forward then, boys, we are like, as you say, again, this is for Black History Month. We're the group chat on the record, and this will be the first of a couple of podcasts that we'll be putting out, just to kind of highlight the talent that we've got in the city at the moment and some of the good things that have really been kind of popping for a lot longer than people would care to recognise. But I'm glad that it is on a lot of people's radars at the moment. Where's your kind of focus now? What's the new goals of back end of this year, looking to 2021? It sounds scary to say. I feel like everyone's kind of ripped this year off almost.
Of course.
Well,
not quite. We haven't ripped it off just yet.
Okay.
We still have music getting released.
Okay, so
hold tight.
So yeah, we've just been working on a lot of new stuff. There's been a lot of changes with us like recently, and we're now just kind of doing things independently. And so we've been working on a lot of the fresh new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Feels a little bit like more mature,
more real, more
and
us.
A little bit more us.
Yeah.
Like nearly all of it is just like we've just written it between the four of us.
Okay, sick.
Whereas a lot
so
of the
you're all
other times
happy with
it was
it then?
like,
exactly.
yeah, we were having like, outside like co-writers and that kind of stuff coming in, so feels a lot more like natural than that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're excited. We're hopefully going to drop a couple singles before the end of 2020, so not done yet.
Not done.
Yeah.
We've heard roughs, they're sounding pretty sick. We've heard they're sounding pretty sick. So, and then next year, obviously, it's kind of just in the hands of the gods at the minute, isn't it? Kind of just.
Yeah, I mean, the plan's just to carry on releasing some music consistently, and then hopefully, when all this COVID shit calms down, we can start like putting on some gigs and touring and stuff again.
Sick. Yeah. All right, and finally, just before we wrap it up, I'm just wondering, and I've already kind of. The way you have spoken about the scene kind of gives me a glimpse of what you're probably going to say. But do you feel the scene is in a better shape now than when you first stepped into it?
Yeah, 100%. I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's definitely 100%. Even coronavirus has helped that. Because obviously it's locked people in the houses and made sure they have to learn to, for what they love to do. You have to learn to do the whole thing. Like I literally didn't even know how to record, bro.
But
you record, and now I can do all that stuff, bro. Quick thing, you get me? But obviously, I'd like that, thanks to Corona. But that's the only thing I do appreciate about coronavirus. You get me?
Yeah, it's giving you the opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm excited to see like what comes out of the city the next few years.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously there's some people who've kind of broke out and done some bits. But I think there's a lot of people on the come up who are bubbling through, and so I just hope they can like persevere with it, and because I think if you're putting out good shit and doing it consistently enough, eventually you will get your little time to shine. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just about not being like disheartened if you're not getting like mad numbers straight away.
Consistency is key.
Yeah, definitely. Because I can see a few people within the city who are doing bits, and I think your time's gonna come. Do you know what I mean? If you stay on it 100%. So I'm excited for a few people. Yeah.
Sick. Happy days. Well, boys, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for kind of kicking us off on this new little special that we're doing. Obviously, I know Lymph will be made up that we've got this one in the can. So again, thank you for coming down again. Send respect to the boys that as well that couldn't make it, but I know that they'll be tuning in to watch. Obviously, you represented the whole can. It's great to see that you're just doing it and you're going from strength to strength. I know we spoke off camera a couple of weeks ago, and it is going from strength to strength, man. So keep pushing away. Again, you're carrying the city on your back, but hopefully you won't be doing it for much longer, because a lot of people, they're all busting the gut to try and make sure that the scene, that Liverpool, we make some noise. I think it's about time, especially black music. There's a big place in Liverpool, the roots that everything kind of we have. I think we've got a lot to offer, and you guys are the diamonds at the top at the minute, so keep it up.
Nice one, don't know about that, like, but appreciate that.
I've got a big ease up, he's pulled it off, so as I say, thank you for coming down and sitting with us on the group chat.
Thanks for having us, bro. Nice one.
For that, as I say, you know what it is.
Hosted by
your boy
Marcel
and Errol, and we've been on the record. Stay tuned.